Hey, welcome back to another video. I'm Marty from Loudbox Music, and today I want to share with you, or I want to show you actually, how to integrate an analog processor, like a compressor, into your DAW. So kind of like a plugin, but a hardware version of it. All right, so to get straight to the point, we have here a Fire Studio project, which is the analog digital converter, and down here is the compressor, a very affordable Alesis 3632. We don't want to get too complicated here. And now I'm going to show you how to actually do the basic routing, how to connect the inputs and outputs of the converter to the analog interface. And afterwards, we're going to look how everything is routed in the DAW. All right, so let's get started. All right, so backside of the interface and the compressor, we have here the outputs, the analog outputs, and here are the inputs and outputs of channel 1 and 2 of the compressor. All right, so what we want to do now is we're going to use output 3 and 4 in this case. Don't want to use output 1 and 2. It's basically the same on this particular unit as the main mix. So for analog processors, I always use 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. So let's take a cable and connect output number 3 of the interface and route it into the input of the compressor on the first channel. All right. Then we take a second cable. We want to use it also in stereo mode, for example, in the mix bus. Take output number 4 and we connect it to the other one, input of the compressor. All right, so far so good. And now, as far as the outputs of the compressor goes, let's take another cable and we are going to use here now the output on the first channel, and we connect it to the input on the front side to input number 3. Same as the other output. New cable. We have now here output channel 2 of the compressor goes now to input number 4 on the interface. And that's basically it. All right, so here we are now in Logic Pro X. I pulled up an older session of a jingle that I did for an advertisement. And it was actually mixed on the console, on the analog console, but for the purpose of this video, we just use it now in the DAW. So no output processing, just the compressor that I'm gonna insert now. And just for the sake of it, let's say we want to use an analog compressor on the lead vocals here. I normally use the CLA 76 and or the 2A for lead vocals. So let's disengage now the CLA. And now we want to integrate the analog compressor. So we're gonna use it as just like a plugin. We go all the way down here to utility and to I/O. In this case, it's a mono track, so we just have the mono option. So this plugin that allows us to kind of like communicate with the analog compressor looks like that. We have here an output volume and the output selection. Same here on the input volume and the input selection. And very important, the latency detection. So you have to always keep in mind, there's always a delay when you bring out a signal of your analog converter. It goes through like a compressor, so an analog processor, and it goes back into the DAW again through the analog digital converter. It's the so-called round-trip latency, and the DAW with this plugin, with the ping, will compensate for that, so you don't have any phase issues, all right? So, as we did beforehand, the routing, let's use here now on the output, our output 3, and on the input, same the input 3, as we connected the left channel of the compressor to output 3 and input 3 of the analog digital converter. Output volume and input volume I'll leave here just at 0 dB. And let's ping now for the latency. There we have it, 182 samples. I'm not quite sure how much I have the buffer size, so this depends how your system is set on the buffer size. So it might be more samples or lower samples. And here, always 100% on the dry wet. And that's basically it. So let's see if we have a signal here. There we have it. Right, and let's dial in a little bit of a compression. So maybe just use the chorus here, so we can have a little bit of compression going. Let's use 4:1, attack around 6 to 8 milliseconds, fast release. Let's go here in the smart mode. And let's dial in a little bit of a threshold. Right? So without the plugin. Once again, without. And with. Right, so we just used now the analog compressor instead of a plug-in for our compression on the lead vocals. And of course you can use that on any track. So let's say we want to use it in a stereo application on the master bus, for example, even though I wouldn't use that particular compressor on the master bus, but just for the sake of it, let's try it out. So let's disengage it again and bring up here our output channel, which is here again. Go to Utility, I/O, and here we have now the stereo option. And it's now here basically the very same. On the output, we take now 3 and 4 as we have a stereo, and input 3 and 4. Let's ping it again. Again, 182 samples. So we have a compensation for that on the latency offset, and we are in phase. And let's see what the compressor is now doing. We might want to use it now in the stereo mode. So the left channel takes over the right channel, so we don't have to fiddle around with the same knobs again. And let's maybe dial in fast release and a slower attack, ratio 2:1, maybe not that high threshold. Let's dial it a little bit back there. Let's see how that works. A little bit of a faster attack. And without the compressor. That would be quite too much of a gain reduction. All right, so that's basically it. Of course, it's the very same with any other analog processor like a EQ or a effects unit. You might want to use the effects unit on an auxiliary track, but it's basically the same. You use the I/O plugin for that, and you're ready to go. Just use the inputs and the corresponding outputs of the interface, and you're good to go. So I hope that I could give you a little bit of an insight here, how to use that and how it works. It's basically very easy. You just have to make sure that you got the right inputs and outputs, and of course you use latency compensation with the ping, so you don't have any phase issues. All right, so thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you liked that video and want to see more videos like that in the future. As always, happy recordings and see you in the next video.